This morning, we are also following the assassination that sent shockwaves across the country. Again, Turning Point founder Charlie Kirk shot and killed while holding an event talking to thousands of college students at Utah Valley University. The manhunt still underway in Utah. Mike Beau joins us now from the live desk with more on this.
On the run, the FBI with an update right now. Let's listen in.
All day yesterday, through the night last night, investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual.
This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that.
Right now, a desperate manhunt underway in Utah to find the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. A news conference just wrapped up in Utah. We want to get right to Mark Boyle at the live desk. You know, Mark, I was taking some notes here as we listened to that news conference. The FBI had some pretty big revelations, some new information about the suspect. A couple of things that stood out to me. We know the shooter came onto campus just before noon, and investigators were able to track his movements where he jumped off a building and ran into, and I say he, they didn't say if it was a he or she. Right. The suspect ran into a nearby neighborhood, so they canvassed that neighborhood going door to door. But one thing I thought was interesting, Mark, was that they said they had a clear picture of that suspect, but they were not going to release it, which makes you wonder if they're close to closing in on a person. What else have you learned? Well,
clearly they don't want to tip off everyone just yet. They have these images. If it's not from the closed circuit TV on campus, it will be from those Ring cameras, as you talk about in the neighborhoods, Jan, because he went through a neighborhood and everyone has those cameras now. The newest information from the FBI news conference is that they have those pictures. They know who the suspect is. They have not made them public yet. Here's the latest information on your screen. This was just put together. So they have the high-powered bolt-action rifle recovered. That's the direct verbiage from the AP. So they found the gun. The Ring camera shows the suspect in the neighborhood. That will be key. 11:52 a.m., walked up the staircase and then onto the roof. So we now have that confirmed that, in fact, the shooter was on the roof. After the shooting, they say he jumped off and then ran to nearby neighborhoods. This all happened at the Utah Valley University there in Orem, Utah. That's where Charlie Kirk had been speaking at a campus event attended by Maybe 1,500 to 2,000 people is the estimate right now. As he was speaking, that shooter, one shot came out from the roof and hit Charlie in the neck.
This is a time that all Americans should come together and feel and mourn what happened. Violence, which affects so many different people of so many different political persuasions, is an affliction of America. And coming together is what we ought to be doing, not pointing fingers of blame.
A couple things I think need to be said, and I'm sure all of us would express it in our own way. Yesterday was a tragic day for America. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. From a Republican point of view, he was one of the leading voices in the MAGA world. He organized campuses to spread conservatism. On our side of the aisle, we saw him as a great force. I think Democrats, whether they agreed with him or not, understand that this is not the way you have discourse in the country. And we're just here as a group to say America cannot govern itself this way. We all have to speak with one voice and find the person who did this and bring them to justice.
I also, like my colleagues, want to make very clear that there is no place for this political violence. And you think about Charlie Kirk's wife today, you think about those little babies that are never going to know their dad growing up. And I can't help but think about what's happened in Minnesota this summer. Same thing, right? A madman killing our former Speaker of the House and her husband, gunning them down in their house, killing, attempting to kill another legislator, 8 bullets through him, 9 bullets through his wife. That all happened in our state. And the next one, I'm going to yet another funeral on Sunday of a little 10-year-old girl named Harper, gunned down. Well, they weren't politicians, these were kids while they were praying in Mass. Fletcher's funeral was last weekend. We were all there. The manifesto was political. It was all-purpose. The shooter was a all-purpose hater against every side, every which way. But that's what we're seeing right now, and it has to end, and we have to join together to condemn it.
I want to echo what you've heard from my colleagues. Political violence has no place in America. What we saw yesterday, and everyone saw it, is sickening. It is disgusting. It was a political assassination.
No matter where you are on the political spectrum, violence has no place in America and American political discourse. I think we can all agree that violence ought to be solidly denounced, condemned, and stopped in America. And the spreading frequency and severity of violence should be sickening and shocking to all Americans. No matter what your politics, political violence has to stop.
This moment requires leadership that brings the American people together as opposed to trying to further divide us. Political violence in any form against any American is unacceptable, should be denounced by everyone, and moving forward, we have to figure out a better way to come together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans.
President Trump has ordered flags to be flown at half-staff through Sunday in honor of Charlie Kirk, and this is actually the 9/11 ceremonies. The president did announce Kirk's death on Truth Social, writing the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you.
Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Erica, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd, very, very big.
Charlie Kirk transformed American politics as we know it, starting with the youngest voters in America. Instead of enrolling in college, Charlie went to college and began a dialogue with students on campuses all across America. He co-founded Turning Point USA at 18 years old, which has exploded in size to more than 250,000 student members at more than 850 college campuses nationwide. Political commentator Michael Knowles wrote, Charlie's prudence, the principal virtue in politics, built a generational coalition that helped to transform the American government. His temperance distinguished him as one of the few on the right to eschew whiskey, cigars, and every other delight that might have distracted him from his purpose for which he had so little time. Charlie Kirk would have been president. His friends knew it, his admirers knew it, and his enemies knew it.
And then Beau Mason, B-E-A-U, Mason, M-A-S-O-N. Everybody got that? Hi everyone, my name is Hillary Kellner. I'm the Communications Director for the Utah Department of Public Safety. Today we will have two speakers, one representing the state of Utah and one representing our federal agencies. They will be providing some updates as well as a recap of what happened here at Utah Valley University yesterday. We will be able to take a couple of questions after they are done speaking, but it will be short in order to stay in tune with the President speaking at 9:45. So I'll go ahead and introduce Commissioner Beau Mason.
Good morning. I'm Beau Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. I'd be remiss if we didn't start off today to recognize the significance of the day. Historically on 9/11, law enforcement has come together as a group to recognize and honor those that sacrificed to preserve the ideals of this country, the freedoms of this country. And instead we find ourselves today hunting a murderer who chose to violate our rights, the rights of an individual within this country. Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny, they faced threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock. All day yesterday, through the night last night, investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs. We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual. We are not going to release that at this time. We are working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual. If we are unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we're confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately. Last night I communicated with Erica. The family's devastated. As a Commissioner of Public Safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual. Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was, and how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Rose.
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles, and I am the Special Agent in charge of the Salt Lake Field Office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk, FBI agents have been working around the clock in coordination with our law enforcement partners. We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis. Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We thank the community for that. The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people. It's to uphold the Constitution of the United States. Any attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him. We also continue to grieve with the family and the community. It's our community. If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website at www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting. The FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small or insignificant. Thank you.
Commissioner James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask a about the shooter. There's clearly information about him or her. You say you're confident at this stage in terms of tracking down who they are. Can you talk to us about their movements, their demeanor? Do you think it's a man? And also, can I ask, what were the security arrangements in place? Was that booth being monitored? It's a question many people will have, particularly after Pop.
So what I'll release about the suspect is the suspect blended in well with a college institution. We're not releasing any details right now, and we will soon, but right now we're not. But that individual appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. If we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately, we will reach out for the public's help and the media's help in pushing those photos. That was a new development overnight, working through the night, studying those cameras. So that's something that's new and that we're working through right now. As far as the security, I cannot speak to that. Neither the Department of Public Safety nor the Federal Bureau of Investigation was involved in the planning or security of this event, and that'll have to be a question later for other agencies.
Especially in this charge, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned that you found the gun in a wooded area. Do you believe that the suspect could be hiding in the woods, and is that suspect possibly still in this area?
So that's a good question, and it's a question that goes to the safety of the community, right? No, not in those woods. We walked through those woods and secured it. As to the community, I can tell you that this was a targeted event. We don't believe the community is at risk. However, we are exhausting every resource to find him, and we will do so.
Special Agent Beau, with the BBC, from the images you have, can you see clearly the suspect's face? You say he's college age. Do you believe he was from this university? And how far do you think he may have gone in this time span?
So I can't comment specifically on his face or any details such as that, as it's continuing to be a part of the investigation, and again, we'll release that shortly. However, we're doing everything we can to find him, and we're not sure how far he has gone yet.
And you do believe
it's
Beau?
But you have a clear image of his face?
We have images of the suspect.
So between those images and the gun that you've been able to recover, do you believe you know who this person is, the person that you're looking for at this point?
Again, as part of the investigation, we're not releasing any details such as that.
Any fingerprints or DNA?
We are exhausting all of our resources to be able to collect those, but that's, again, part of the investigation.
How did the suspect get on the roof?
Excuse me?
You said you found the weapon. Have you been able to trace back the owner of that weapon or who purchased it?
We are working on that, but again, part of the investigation that I can.
One last question.
Agent Wallace, there's been a lot of turnover at the FBI. Do you think that's impacting the investigation at all?
Not at all. We've got complete and total support from everyone, from the director on down, and it's been an incredible supportive environment so far.
Are tweets like the one yesterday useful though, where we announced that there's a suspect in custody?
All I can say is that we're working the investigation the best we have with the environment we're given.
Those are all the questions for right now. Thank you, everybody.